All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and anyone who believes differently. Um, Welcome to the Christmas Eve episode. I'm trying something new. I'm going to have a little royalty-free background music playing. Let me know if it's too loud, if it's overwhelming, or anything like that. I'm trying to do what I can to make the show a little better. But welcome to the Christmas Eve special here at the Associated Guests. I, as always, am your host, Alfie Animus, here at the Bear in Mind channel. And today, it's finally time. We're going to talk about, what was it, Amfest, the little conservative civil war that's been brewing since Charlie Kirk's passing. But Ben Shapiro said his piece. Would I have said it? Probably not here of all places. This is a place for more Charlie Kirk type beliefs. But was he wrong to say it? No. Nah, I mean, some of it maybe, but this isn't the place for it. But it is fun to watch, so we'll get into it, and yeah, let's get into it.
Welcome, everyone, to Right Wing Civil War, the movie. That's right. That's what we're doing right now, because I have done all the research. I have 100 tabs open. We are going through everything. Ben Shapiro gave a nuclear speech at Turning Point USA's America Fest. It went super viral. Everyone talked about it. Everyone responded to it. Tucker Carlson responded to it. Megyn Kelly responded to it. Candace Owens responded to it. J.D. Vance, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, talked about it. Nick Fuentes talked about it. Asmongold talked about it. Nicki Minaj ended up at America Fest and surprised literally everyone. This is honestly one of the biggest twists of all time. Now, I want to make it very clear. We own culture in America. For the first time, I think, in my lifetime, the right wing, the conservative movement, the idea that God is great is in the American public square,
And again, as I've said since this season started, the best way to see who owns the culture in America, or at least who currently is steering it, is based on who gets it the worst from South Park.
own American culture. That said, let's not lose it. All right? I'm really glad we're all on the same page. So, while the left is trying to kill us, castrate children, and murder 1 million unborn children a year, the right wing is too busy fighting with each other, grifting, and being cringe. So, lock in, everybody. We're going to talk about a lot of retards today.
And I'm not going to lie. While I think Ben Shapiro's a bit too invested in Israel, specifically, I don't think he's a grifter. I do, however, think that Candace Owens is not a journalist by any stretch of the imagination. Tucker Carlson, never really been a fan of his. And then Megyn Kelly, never really been a fan of hers. They are only in any of this for the clicks, for the views. Now, it can be argued that who of the big creators aren't. I mean, you could tell the believers and those that don't believe. Candace Owens may be retarded enough to where she actually believes what she's saying, but I doubt it.
So first we have to watch the Ben Shapiro speech, because this is literally where it all kicked off. I'm not going to be showing the full speeches of every other guy, because I'm here to cover the actual movie. This is America Fest, the movie, Right Wing Civil War, the movie. While the leftists are trying to castrate our children and kill our unborn, I wanted to see what the right wing pundits are doing these days. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Really glad the leftists are able to scam people for 18 billion Minnesota Somalian dollars. Meanwhile, the right wing is out there pointing guns at each other. So, today...
And it is absolutely ridiculous. Look, and I will admit that it is because of people like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson that the right has dropped the ball. It all started with the death of Charlie Kirk, and I will say different people held it to different regard. I see people's point about Ben Shapiro. I'm not really a huge fan. He made me more sympathetic to conservatives at one point when he first got started. But honestly, since they started the Daily Wire, it's been it's kind of a downhill thing from there. I have taken his side when it came to Candace Owens, and to an extent, I took his side when it came to the Steven Crowder situation. But I've since looked more into it, and I mean, everyone knows I'm not a huge fan of Steven Crowder, but I do respect him because he is very fact-based. And he was right.
Today's episode, everyone's retarded, except honestly for Nicki Minaj and JD Vance. This is kind of crazy. So lock in.
And I also can't wait till Ladder with Crowder comes back after the holiday season and comments on everything going on. Hopefully they do. Can't wait.
Everybody, lock in. Everybody's half right, and we're going to be making fun of everybody here.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right, so part one is the Ben Shapiro speech. All right, that's part one because this is where it all started. And I did my best to do all the research, but unfortunately, we're going to need to do everything because no one else covered it. I think A to Z this way.
Yeah,
so
no, and that is true,
right,
and
share this video.
that's another reason why I use Crowder, and Crowder probably will cover it from A to Z when he gets back. But that's why I like Nux and Crowder and More Pegasus. They do quite a bit of research, especially the previous two.
You around if you can.
It's obviously a massive honor to be here at Turning Point USA. It's even more of an honor to follow Erica Kirk, a heroic figure and a true American patriot.
I will say he does Glazer a bit
that the
extra.
best way to judge a goodness of a man
It's not wrong, but
see the goodness of his wife and his children. And on that measure, Charlie was unsurpassed.
Honestly, good take.
Erica and her children are in all of our hearts. And of course, this is an incredibly bittersweet moment. It's absolutely bitter because of the murder of our friend Charlie Kirk, an irreplaceable human being. I knew Charlie from the time he was 18 years old, and I watched him build himself into one of the most powerful exponents of conservatism in America, one of the most powerful coalition builders in American history.
True.
But it's also sweet to see the number of people who continue to remember Charlie each and every day and to carry on his mission. Well, today, I want to talk about the future of the country. And the future of this country, this amazing country, relies on the future of the conservative movement. It relies on what TPUSA defines as its core mission: freedom, free markets, and limited government.
Yeah.
And most of all, the future of this country relies on truth.
Oh boy. Agreed. So far, so good.
This country relies on truth because victory, true, real, lasting victory, cannot be achieved without truth.
I agree with him.
Victory without truth is victory for a lie, and that is no victory at all. And unity without truth is no unity. It is merely solidarity in falsehood. You see, we live in a chaotic time, and a time when lots of people are asking lots of legitimate questions about the conservative movement. What ought we to think about the relationship between free markets and traditional virtue?
I thought he was going to say America and Israel, but I guess we're not doing that.
I mean, that is the kind of thing you expect from Ben Shapiro, but I digress.
That spreads our interests and upholds our ideals.
True.
What governmental means are appropriate to achieve political ends?
Great questions.
All of these questions aren't new, of course. They've been asked for as long as human beings have been talking about politics, thousands of years. And over the course of this conference, you'll hear a lot of opinions on a lot of these questions. I have my own perspectives on them, of course. You can hear them every single day on my show. My fundamental values have been the same for 25 years. Peace through strength on foreign
More or
policy.
less.
Yeah.
Traditional values on social policy. Free markets. With regard to economics.
All right, we're cooking.
But today, I want to talk about something even more important. How to discern those attempting to speak truth from frauds and grifters.
And here it goes. Everything starts. Now, I just wanted to say, off the get-go, everyone's shitting on Ben Shapiro for this. We're about to see. However, I want to make this clear. The fact that Ben Shapiro actually had the balls to say this, I think is respectable. I do. I know I'm going to get hate for this. Because even though I disagree with the gatekeeping...
yeah, and I got pretty much the same take as Nux on this. I don't agree with some of the stuff that he said, but I do say he had the balls to say it. And I don't like the gatekeeping. I don't like people saying that people should be ostracized. Because that's not what... I mean, that's not what I believe, for one, and that's not what Charlie Kirk would believe, and this is his fucking fest. But it had to be said at some point.
That we're about to witness, just epic foreshadowing. I disagree with the gatekeeping. I actually respect the fact that he went up there and he said something that is realistically very unpopular among the young folk in the country. All right, but we're gonna go neutral. We're about to drop a nuke. Let's go. All right, so far we're cooking.
Because something is new. An informational environment rife with both opportunity and chaos. Opportunity because the legacy media gatekeepers are no longer in charge of what we see and what we hear.
Yeah.
No, I'm the gatekeeper.
Because an anarchic informational environment means we actually have to be smart in how we assess the information and arguments that we hear.
He is right. That's what I always say. Never trust a YouTuber. Never trust a YouTuber. It is in YouTubers' best interests to lie to you, to manipulate you. Never trust a YouTuber. Think for yourself. Absolutely. All right, where are we going? Are we going to be calling anyone out by name, perhaps?
Why does that matter? Well, because today the conservative movement is in serious danger.
Uh-oh.
It is in danger, not just from a left that all too frequently excuses everything up to and including murder.
Uh-oh.
The conservative movement is also in danger from charlatans who claim to speak in the name of principle, but actually traffic in conspiracism and dishonesty.
Oh my God.
Who offer nothing but bile and despair.
Oh my God.
Who seek to undermine fundamental principles of conservatism by championing enervation and grievance. These people are frauds, and they are grifters, and they do not deserve your time.
People
and they are something worse than that. A danger to the only movement capable of stopping the left from wrecking the country wholesale.
Honestly, so far, he's been kind of cooking, right? He didn't mention anyone by name yet, so, listen, it could be anybody, any fraud grifter. You could put your own fraud grifter to fill this, invisible box. Oh boy, it gets so much worse.
So today, I want to discuss 5 obligations that people who speak to you on matters of importance have to you. I want to speak to you about our duty.
You want to know my hot take? We have no duties. We have no obligations. If we're proven to be a fraud in the open market of ideas, people will stop watching us. My nuclear take is I owe you nothing, and neither does any other YouTuber or influencer. All right? Ben Shapiro is coming from this place of principle where every single person needs to absolutely be there to, be their guy. They've got to be completely honest, and they owe you whatever. I disagree. I think I owe you nothing. I only owe God and my family. All right? I don't owe you anything. That's my opinion. Now, that said, if I am a liar, I hope that I'm called out for it. If I am a fraud and a grift.
And I agree with that take. Nobody owes anyone anything. I mean, it's always good to be true to your fan base, to the people who are good to you and all that, but nobody owes anyone anything. That being said, if you go around like everyone owes you something, well, that being said, if you betray any kind of loyalty base when it comes to fandom, you're going to hear about it. I mean, look at Star Wars, for God's sake.
I want to be obliterated in the public marketplace of ideas because I believe that is the most important thing. I think the most important thing in America is the freedom of speech. That's why it's the First Amendment, and that's why if someone's retarded in public, they will be outed as a retard in public. All right?
Which I like.
No one owes anyone anything. All right, anyway.
Our first duty is truth. We owe you the truth. That means we should not mislead you. It means we shouldn't hide the ball.
Yeah, ideally
we shouldn't
not.
be deliberately obscure about what we're telling you.
I agree with him in principle, but again, it's their prerogative. If they want to be retarded, they have the right to be retarded. Now, we should call them retarded, but they have the right to be retarded.
We have an obligation to clarity and to honesty. This means that we actually have to be clear in the language that we use. We should not traffic in generality. We should not...
I agree with him in general. I do. But what is this whole condemning people gatekeeping thing? I think he's completely right morally. And I would call out retards like Candace Owens, which is obviously who he's referring to. And I would call out retards that are pushing absolute nonsense. Or actually, it was a team effort between Israel and the Jews and the French and the Egyptians and Turning Point USA and Erica Kirk that killed Charlie Kirk. I agree we should fucking obliterate her in the public marketplace of ideas. That said, this condescending, you should never talk to anyone attitude is just, no one likes this.
Say things like, they shot Charlie.
Well, and what again, I agree with Ben Shapiro in principle on this. However, I agree. Taking the grifter mentality that we should shut people out instead of maybe talking to them, figuring out why they believe what they believe in, especially the ones that are hostile and volatile about it, and try to either see if they maybe have a point or try to show them the point that you're trying to express to them. You shouldn't shut people out. You shouldn't try to strong-arm people into believing what you believe, but you should take it into account.
Without specifying whom
what they believe and what you believe and why you believe it.
True, completely true. He's completely right about this. He's absolutely completely right about this. We should not give credence to someone that said they had a dream that Charlie Kirk was betrayed. Like, what the fuck is that?
who allegedly shot Charlie Kirk and whom all the evidence points at, all of it is a gay, trans-loving furry.
True. He's right. He's completely right.
If we are going to target ideological movements, we should talk about the fact...
Which is crazy, and you can always tell who the grifters or the headline readers specifically are, because there are still people that believe that Kyle Rittenhouse killed 3 black people. There are still people who wear masks, for God's sake. And there are still people who believe that the vaccines did exactly what they said they were going to do. They may have helped, but they didn't do exactly what they said they were going to do.
That the radical trans movement treats all those who oppose it as existential threats. Or if we're going to talk about the Democratic Party making room for the radical trans movement...
I, by the way, completely agree with this. I think that Candace Owens did irreparable damage to the conservative movement by the fact that when we witnessed the most heinous act of, you know, this weird trans furry violence ever, she immediately decided to blame just the Jews and Israel and the French instead of actually, you know, tackling it head on.
And of course, she's not a conservative. She's not. Neither am I. But you don't see me over here trying to convince people that I'm a conservative and I'm the most conserviest of all conservers. Or conservatives. Conservatives. Oh my God. English is difficult for me.
I think that's unbelievably damaging.
And echoing its inflammatory rhetoric, well, we should talk about that. Those are specific problems, and they require specific responses.
Yep.
When people say they shot Charlie, however, they are instead trafficking in vagary that results in increased hatred without proposing any effective response. They are fostering despair and rage, and that makes things worse. We must also be honest about what people say and do, regardless of what that means coalitional. It is the job of politicians to build coalitions. It's the job of those of us who try to shape public opinion to hold politicians to account and to hold...
I actually completely agree with him. This is epic foreshadowing for what Vance
so far
says
he's
at
cooking,
the end of his speech, where he basically says that everyone's welcome in the conservative movement, and that is his job. Vance's job as a politician is to win. All right, Ben Shapiro's job and my job is to call out retards. At least that's my job. I don't know if Ben Shapiro's job does that because he's a bit retarded on Maine sometimes too.
Yeah, sometimes he's pretty retarded.
I've called Ben Shapiro out plenty of times. But the reality is, he's right. He's right about this.
Hold them accountable to our values. We must not let fear of audience deter us from telling the truth.
I agree.
We must not let fear of other hosts deter us from telling the truth. So,
honestly, I think this is so based of him.
And this is where he turns. Again, this part of the speech going into something else or leading into anything except for calling out people by name, so far pretty based, at least as far as conservatives go. But my God, dude, here we go.
Like, I see so many people criticizing him for this speech, as well as some people praising him for this speech. I think he's completely right about this. The issue is, bro, every time dude gets criticized himself, he writes it off as anti-Semitism. That's the issue.
Yeah, and that's one of the big issues with Ben Shapiro.
He immediately, hits them with the anti...
He has become, I mean, I don't know if he's always been like this, but definitely recently he's become extra pearl clutchy since October 7th.
Semitism trap card. He doesn't actually engage with any of these points. Like, one of the major criticisms to Ben Shapiro is that Ben Shapiro seems like he's more loyal to a foreign government than to our government. And the reality is that's a...
No, of course, October 7th was a tragedy, but you can't let a tragedy run your life. And you certainly can't make it kind of twist you to becoming the right-wing version of something that you already hated.
It's a very valid criticism that he really just kind of brushes off as anti-Semitism. And that's insane. So while I agree with him in principle, I would really love if these principles were universal.
For example, if Candace Owens decides to spend every day since the murder of Charlie Kirk...
Oh my God. Dude, what is that applause?
And I will say, Candace is probably the one that he could call out here. 100%, everyone knows I've never liked Candace Owens, but she's not here. She wasn't invited here. And she has been actively going after Turning Point USA, Erica Kirk, pretty much everyone, saying that they had something to do with it. Tim Pool, Ben Shapiro, everyone, except for her, even though she's benefited the most from Charlie Kirk's murder.
So, if Candace Owens decides to spend every day since the murder of Charlie Kirk casting aspersions at TPUSA, and the people who work here, who worked with Charlie every single day, his best friends, to cast aspersions at Mikey McCoy and Andrew Colvin and Blake Neff and Tyler Boyer and yes, at Erica Kirk.
He's right.
And to imply or claim complicity in a covert Charlie's murder, to spew absolutely baseless trash, implicating everyone from French intelligence to Mossad to members of TPUSA in Charlie's murder or a cover-up in that murder, then we, as people with a microphone, have a moral obligation to call that out by name.
Damn.
And that name
Standing
is Candace Owens. Look at that guy. Hold on. Look at this guy.
Erica Kirk and by name have a moral obligation to call that out by name.
And that name is Erica Kirk. Look at this guy. This guy's a Candace Owens fan. He's like, damn.
Oh my god, that's huge.
Erica Kirk.
Yeah, no, so for the record, based as fuck that he's doing this, and he is getting unbelievable shit for this, and I respect him for saying it. I really do. In fact, one of the things that I'm just gonna push back on in defense of Ben, a lot of people are calling him out for trying to deplatform Candace Owens. He didn't say that. He's calling her out for being retarded.
Yeah, he didn't actually say that.
This isn't deplatforming, this isn't canceling, this isn't censoring, all right? This is literally calling out in the free marketplace of ideas, just like everyone does to everyone else. This is not cancel culture. This is like actually not at all cancel culture. And I see so many people saying, he's trying to cancel. He's not. He's literally not. Now, if Candace Owens gets banned from YouTube over the next week or so, then the Jews are cooked. The Jews are cooked.
USA
don't say the Jews are cooked. You should know that.
Never should have been put in the position to have to defend themselves against such specious and evil attacks, particularly in a time of mourning.
He's right. He's totally right.
And the people who refuse...
And everyone bitching about this? Like, why are you bitching about this? Just like you could criticize him, he could criticize you. Thanks for the 10 subs, Soup.
To condemn Candace's truly vicious attacks, and some of them are speaking here, are guilty of cowardice.
Okay. And he should have left it at that. He should have left it at that. Okay, maybe Tucker. But he should have left it at that.
Damn.
Yes, cowardice.
Bro's right, though. He's just right. There are so many pussies out there that are scared to call out Candace Owens. You know who's not a pussy? Proven not a pussy? Me. That's right.
Also me.
Rabbi Bitchenstein, myself. Me. The guy that straight up called out Candace Owens before it was cool. Before Ben Shapiro did, and before Tim Pool did, there was me. The Bitchenor. Immediately justified.
And if I was famous, there was me. I've never liked Candace Owens. I haven't liked her since I've been following her career since, what was it? Social Autopsy.
The fact that they have said nothing while Candace has been vomiting all sorts of hideous and conspiratorial nonsense.
And I'm also pretty sure that was one of my first episodes, a Candace Owens special.
To the public square for years is just as cowardly. Second, because we owe you the truth, we owe you the duty to speak out of principle, not personal feeling. It should not matter whether we despise someone or whether we love someone. The question is what they say and what they do, and whether those things are morally decent or not.
He is correct.
On a political level, do they foster freedom, justice, and prosperity? On a personal level, do they treat others as they would wish to be treated? Personal feeling is not a substitute for moral judgment. To take again the Candace Owens situation as an example, friendship with public figures who say or do evil things is not an excuse for silence on the matter.
I agree with that. And again, at least until this point, he's not saying you can't be friends with people you disagree with. He says you can't be around people you can't disagree with, although he has said you shouldn't platform people you disagree with in the case of Nick Fuentes. Me personally, strong supporter, and I know people are going to call me conservative for this. Sunlight's the best disinfectant. If you allow people to exist, then people will see that they're retarded, as long as people are also allowed to refer to them as the retards they are.
Politics is not the sisterhood of the traveling pants.
Damn.
Politics is about principle. And if you are willing to sacrifice basic truth and simple principle in favor of emotional solidarity, you have betrayed your fundamental duty to the American people.
For the record, I completely agree with him. However, it's important to note, Ben Shapiro has some takes like, who cares who really killed JFK? That was so long ago. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, like, at the same time,
Like, I don't care, really, and I see his point on that, but it's not so much of we want to know, it's that a president was assassinated, and we know that there was deeper ties and more people connected to it than there actually was. All people want is government transparency. Now, then, and always. Most people want, I'll say most people, because the internet's full of awful people once they get behind a fake alias. I know, I'm one to talk. Once I become, if this ever becomes monetizable to the point where I can only do this, then 100% I'll put my face out there.
We could definitely hit back here. You know what I'm saying?
First off, I should break the omerta here and just be a little bit clear. The notion that people in our industry are close friends, like we all take holiday breaks with each other and go to each other's kids' graduations and stuff, is generally untrue. Some people do that, most of us don't. We see each other at conferences and we talk on the phone and all the rest. We're business colleagues. But even if it were true that other public figures were our best friends, our very best friends, that does not relieve us of our duty to speak out of principle and not to cover up evil or shy away from addressing.
Ease up with the fist shaking there, Ben. People might make comparisons.
It out of friendship.
I agree with him. Yeah, he's right.
So no.
Yeah, Dwight Schrute.
Tucker Carlson.
Bro, I'm watching Nux now for the Jew-on-Jew violence. Listen, man. I am an equal opportunist racist, all right? Equal opportunist retard. I call everyone retarded. Now, ultimately, this entire thing is a giant bitch fest that's not talking about the fact that the left is trying to kill us. So I'll just be real here. I'm just trying to be upfront. I think Ben Shapiro cooked with a lot of this speech, and that's why he got the amount of reactions he did. Don't worry, the second half of this video is going to be even more explosive than this.
It is not an excuse to go silent on Candace's targeting of TPUSA.
I agree with him. He's right. He's completely right. Now, this isn't canceling anyone. This is straight up criticizing and acknowledging the fact that your friend, Candace Owens, your friend Candace is
Again, this might not be the place for it, but it's not like these people watch each other's shows. I'm sure they'll see the clips when they put them on whatever other streaming channel people who report on these things go to.
Literally talking about how Turning Point USA betrayed and murdered their close friend. And that's insane. And everyone should call that out. And honestly, there are a lot of grifters that just want to be in Candace Owens's, in her good graces. And that's insane.
Or to mirror her bullshit lines of questioning because you love Candace personally. The same holds true of Megyn Kelly. I consider a friend, characterizing Candace as a young mother and thus shying away from condemning her actions or fibbing about them.
Oh boy.
That is a non-starter. Meghan Markle is a young mother. Ilhan Omar is a young mother. That doesn't matter.
That's a good take, honestly.
Yeah, it really is.
Megyn Kelly was like, yeah, I know that she's talking about how, the Jews and the French and Turning Point USA and Erica Kirk murdered her own husband, but, she is a young mother after all. Not an excuse.
Yeah.
Not an excuse. Get out of here. And don't worry, we have a
Megyn Kelly's a grifter.
Kelly segment and a Candace Owens segment coming up for their responses.
And when Megyn said this week, quote, my goal and my job here is to try to understand, yes, where Candace is coming from on this, and says she sees no purpose in inserting herself into this on one side, that is a moral and logical absurdity. There is only one moral side
I don't
here,
disagree.
Erica Kirk's side.
He's right. That doesn't mean you can't ask questions. It doesn't mean you can't do research. But, when you're completely baselessly accusing everyone, get out of here. He's right.
You know, the side of the widow with 2 children whose husband was shot live on camera in front of all of us. Friendship with the person accusing TPUSA of a cover-up of Charlie's murder is no excuse for cowardice.
Damn.
Third, and relatedly, we have a duty to take responsibility for what we say and do. If we hire awful people, we're responsible for that. I have some experience there, as you might suspect.
Damn.
That means that if we offer a guest for your viewing, we owe it to you to ask the kinds of questions that actually get at the truth.
Oh my God, he's gonna
get the If we agree with the guest, that's fine, but we should own it. So, for example, if you host a Hitler apologist, Nazi-loving, anti-American piece of refuse like Nick Fuentes...
Oh my God.
Okay, yeah, this is where, again, there's plenty to say about Turning Point, and yes, when... I don't know if he does it on purpose, but when Tucker Carlson interviews someone controversial, he softballs it heavily. I understand when you talk to world leaders, especially if you're not from a major news network, and most people won't care if you disappear in another country. It's hard not to gargle his ball bag from time to time. Apologies for the for that little statement, but it's just he softballed it, man. he softballed it so hard. And same with, I mean, it's kind of the opposite of what happened with Piers Morgan when Piers Morgan interviewed Fuentes. But yeah, no, Tucker Carlson, you know, he asked him questions. He asked 0 follow-up questions, and then they had a few laughs. You know, Tucker Carlson's laugh. Oh, hold on, I think I have that queued up.
Yo, that response. Oh boy. See, my biggest complaint with Ben Shapiro is the fact that, like, you can talk about how the debate is all that matters, and you have to be clear morally. When you do that, that's cool. Debate him. Debate Nick Fuentes.
And I completely agree.
Man. If you are completely
Debate
and
Nick
utterly
Fuentes.
purely on the correct moral and logical and ethical side, you should have no issue with destroying him in a debate. Do it, man. That's why this is so frustrating. That's why this is so frustrating. Because you can sit on your high horse and you can, you know, spout whatever you want to spout. But you're literally scared to debate him. Like, you're literally scared to debate him. Why? You'll give him more info.
Hold on, real quick. This is what Tucker Carlson's laugh reminds me of.
And to you, ladies, heels are almost impossible to walk in.
We'll get over it, dude. You gotta walk in, okay? Now let me hear the voice.
No, I don't think that the voice is entirely necessary, so I'm not going to do it.
If we're gonna wipe away the walk, we need to talk the talk.
Fine, how do you do it?
Your voice
Right
needs
here.
to come off as elegant as your clothing. Okay, so try this. Would you like a spot of tea? You. Yes.
I don't know why, but every time Tucker Carlson laughs, that's what I hear. That's what it sounds like to me. What someone who wears a powdered wig would laugh like.
Dude,
You'll hear it
people
later
in
when he
general,
tells
bro,
bad
You're
jokes.
just gonna put a spotlight on him. Nick Fuentes is bigger than Ben Shapiro. This is an objective fact. All right, an objective fact. All right, this isn't giving him a platform. He is bigger than Ben Shapiro right now. Objectively true. He gets more viewers on his show live. He gets more likes on his tweets. He gets more clips that go viral. All right,
That's true.
I'm sorry, man. You are living in a delusion if you don't think that's what we're talking about. So again, in my opinion, debate him. And for the record, I have the same criticism against Tucker Carlson, because Tucker Carlson is terrified of Ben Shapiro. A lot of you don't know this, but Ben Shapiro actually wanted to debate Tucker Carlson, and Tucker Carlson refused. He was a giant pussy about it.
What?
So don't worry.
Tucker's the worst,
this is the pussy
too.
triangle
Tucker
over here.
Carlson.
Right, we got Ben Shapiro scared to debate Nick Fuentes, and you got Tucker Carlson scared to debate Ben Shapiro. And like, bro, you have like this, and it's terrible. It's terrible for everyone that these discussions can't actually be had. So anyway, so that's where we're standing right now.
You know, the Nick Fuentes who said that the Vice President of the United States is a, quote, fat gay race traitor married to a Jeet. The person who said that Charlie Kirk was a, quote...
Yeah, not a nice thing to do. I don't think that's very nice of Nick Fuentes. In
But
fact,
he
I think
has
Nick
the right to
Fuentes'
say it.
rhetoric is deplorable. I really do. I think it is. I think it's unbefitting in many, many ways. That said, debate him. Out of
Yeah,
context
100%
clips
debate
are
him.
really not gonna work. Like, bro, that's why this is never gonna work, man.
retarded idiot. The person who said, and pardon my language here, it's his quote, that he, quote, took Turning Point USA and fucked it, and that's why it's filled with groypers. If you have that person on your
He did
show
say
and
all
you
that.
proceed to glaze him, you ought to own it.
True.
There is a reason that Charlie Kirk despised Nick Fuentes, and indeed even chided Dinesh D'Souza for debating him. He knew that Nick Fuentes is an evil troll, and that building him up is an act of moral imbecility. And that is precisely what Tucker Carlson did. He
True, but he's there now, all right? Fine.
Yeah.
So, he's there. You want to say that it's moral imbecility? Sure. So debate him. Like, that's the scariest part, man. That's the scariest part. It's the fact that everyone can sit there and talk about it. He's just a troll with no good ideas. So destroy him. So like, bro, he's just
Yeah,
some
exactly.
little idiot, all right? Just kill him. Kill him in public square. Humiliate him. Hit
Do
him
it.
with
Can
facts
you
and
hear the
logic.
screaming?
Do it. That's the issue. Like, when he criticizes Tucker Carlson, completely valid. All right, he
Yeah.
wanted to debate Tucker. Tucker refused. Tucker's a pussy.
I agree, and I'm all for criticism. Mostly when it comes to their choices, their hypocrisy, and what they say. Criticize all that. As long as you're not doing personal attacks for someone's belief, attack the belief. Attack the action that someone did. Don't attack the person themselves. It's just going to cause more hostility, and you're not going to get to the root of why you're having the fucking argument in the first place.
When he criticizes Candace Owens, completely valid. When he criticizes Nick Fuentes, it's coming under the guise of also being scared to debate him. And I'll be real, that is so frustrating.
Nick Fuentes up, and he ought to take responsibility for that, just as he ought to take responsibility for glazing pornographer and alleged sex trafficker Andrew Tate,
True.
or for mainstreaming fake historian and pseudo-Nazi apologist Daryl Cooper
Agreed.
as America's best and most honest popular
Yeah,
historian.
Tucker Carlson is a bought, paid foreign operative, and I'm going to prove that in this video. Don't worry.
Yeah, he's a
Tucker
huge
Carlson
retard.
responds to this too.
Hosts are indeed responsible for the guests they choose and the questions they ask those guests.
Yeah, agreed.
And this is where he loses
Because
me.
we have a
This is where he loses me. You, look, if you have someone on your show and you let them know what kind of show it is, like if you say you can't say certain words or else I'll get demonetized, you should know the kind of person they are before you let them on your show. You definitely shouldn't, and if you think there's any reason they wouldn't be able to trust you, you shouldn't have them on your live show. You should only put them in an edited format to where the only real edit is the word that'll get you demonetized. And that's it. I don't agree with that, but I mean, you got to make your money somehow.
duty to truth, we also have a duty to provide you with evidence of the claims that we make. Emotive
I don't agree
accusations,
with
conspiracy
YouTube's
theories,
algorithm.
and just guessing
Okay,
questions,
Dan.
that's lazy and stupid and misleading. None of them are a substitute for truth. None of them are a substitute for evidence. So, when Candace Owens says, I don't know, but I know, that is retarded. And we are all more retarded for having her.
And this is one of my favorite bits. I love... Look, I'm one of those people. I love when people you wouldn't expect to say certain words say certain words. I love hearing my friends' kids, or at least I did when I was in my 20s and 30s. I loved hearing my friend's kid cuss. I loved, especially because they were Irish and nuts, but I love hearing old people cuss. I love hearing people with other languages who are supposed to be more elegant, especially like the Brits or the French, say words you're not supposed to say. I love when like people with little cute, like high-pitched voices say like the C word or like some horrendous shit. I don't know why. It's hilarious to me. So hearing Ben Shapiro, sorry, all that to say, hearing Ben Shapiro call Candace Owens or people who agree with her or whatever retarded, chef's kiss. The best thing I've seen, absolute cinema. Hold on.
Of the claims that we make.
That being
Emotive
said, here it is
accusations,
again.
Conspiracy theories, and just guessing questions, that's lazy and stupid and misleading. None of them are a substitute for truth. None of them are a substitute for evidence. So, when Candace Owens says, I don't know, but I know, that is retarded. And we are all more retarded for having heard it.
Oh my god! It's a good line.
Absolute cinema. 10 out of 10. No notes. That... When people get frustrated is when they get their most hilarious, which is why people love fucking with me so much, as I'm sure you'll see as I continue to do this. But it's wonderful.
True, for the record. True. Don't worry. Candace Owens responds.
When Steve Bannon, for example,
She's like, I'm not
accuses his
retarded.
foreign policy
Don't
opponent
worry. Steve Bannon responds.
of loyalty to a foreign country,
Oh, Steve Bannon's the absolute worst, okay? Dude, you're in Epstein's files almost as much as Clinton. Fuck off.
he's not actually making an argument based in evidence. He's simply maligning people that he disagrees with, which is indeed par for the course from a man who was once a PR flack for Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, damn.
Check the record.
Oh, boy.
Our
I love this so much.
duty to provide you evidence means we actually have to do much more than just ask questions. Just asking questions is something my 5-year-old does, and it's really cute when it comes from my 5-year-old.
Yeah, or Glenn Beck. This is why I've never liked Glenn Beck, okay? Glenn Beck is Candace Owens 1.0, okay? Glenn Beck is the T-800. Candace Owens is that shitty OP Terminator from Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. You know, the one with titties. It's just, she's that, okay? She's the prime machine. There's no reason that this machine should have lost. Candace Owens is nuts. She's like, Glenn Beck somehow found a way to knock Alex Jones up. Alex Jones at his worst. That's Candace Owens, and then suddenly became a black woman.
But when grown men and women spend their days just asking questions without, seeking answers, they are lying to you.
Oh, right.
In fact, they're doing...
He's completely correct here. I hate that entire genre. I hate that entire genre of commentary, all right? Of people just showing up and being, I'm just asking questions. Is it true that you're a rapist pedophile? I'm just asking. It's like, bro, these questions are obviously there just to poke and prod you down a certain rabbit hole and change the viewer's intention, because the viewer doesn't care. The viewer doesn't want to know. So anyway.
Something even worse. They are seeding distrust in the world around you, and they are enervating you in the process.
I agree. Now, the thing is, there are some people that really ask meaningful questions. So you get ready for a lot of ad hominem kind of responses. What's wrong with asking questions, Ben? And that's not what he's saying. He's just saying ask questions that aren't baseless.
And that's one thing I cannot stand about Tucker Carlson or Megyn Kelly specifically. And this isn't me taking Ben Shapiro's side because I'm some Ben Shapiro zealot. He's one of the few conservatives I used to be able to listen to. And then about, I don't know, man, like 2021, and then even more after October 7th, and then even more after Charlie Kirk was killed. I got no great love for him specifically. But God, Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson, it's something about alleged journalists being kicked off or leaving their major news network. You see this with Joy Reid as well. And them just becoming completely unhinged. Or Megyn Kelly, where you can clearly see that she's just making moves, okay? These people stand for nothing. And that's the only reason I respect Mr. Nux here. It's the only reason I used to have such respect for Ben Shapiro. It's a reason that I respect Steven Crowder. They always make sure they come with facts, and that's all I care about. As long as you come with facts and you're not a hypocrite, that's my biggest thing.
Questions that actually potentially might have answers that you're trying to find. Now, one thing that's funny is Alex Jones is the voice of reason here. Alex Jones asks questions, and he really does try to find answers. Alex Jones just made an entire hit piece on Candace Owens for her stupid conspiracies. Bro, you're not, bro, I'm telling you, man, I told you, I'm making right-wing Civil War the movie.
So, for example, if many speakers, including Tucker Carlson and others, get on stage here at TPUSA and claim, without proper evidence, that Jeffrey Epstein was running a Mossad rape ring being covered up by the Trump administration, they are not actually uncovering a conspiracy or effectuating a solution. They are claiming a special provenance to information they won't let you see, which builds their power and leaves you with none. They are also implicating in their speculation actual human beings, good human beings, like Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi, and yes, the President of the United States, even if they're too cowardly to say President Trump's name. And that means you won't trust those good people in the future. You haven't gotten smarter, you've just been manipulated. When forced to demonstrate their evidence, these same people will often refuse to provide it. They'll claim ignorance. They'll pretend they're outside the system. And they don't have access to actual information. They're just asking questions. But many of these same people have direct pipelines to informational sources.
I can't stand
So,
going
for
back.
example, if Tucker wants answers to his questions about, say, Jeffrey Epstein, he could call the Vice President of the United States. He's quite close with him. But he won't, because that might undermine the empty speculation.
Damn.
None of this means there aren't actual real conspiracies in the world. Of course.
I think that there is a Jeffrey Epstein conspiracy. I personally...
There is.
Personally, think there definitely
you
is a
can't
Jeffrey
convince me
Epstein
otherwise.
conspiracy. Let's be real here. The FBI, let me just give you, the super fast facts. And honestly, the reason why my complaint with Ben Shapiro here is just, in my opinion, by the fact that Jeffrey Epstein's conspiracy theory aligns with Israel, all right? I think Ben Shapiro is trying to shut it down completely and make it sound like there's no conspiracy there because, he doesn't want to take that extra step to need to talk about Israel. And it's so rough because Israel is the unsaid elephant in the room that, and look, this is coming from me. I like Israel.
Yeah.
Okay?
And that's another thing. That's another reason why I respect Nux. Okay? He's not afraid to call Israel out if Israel do bad thing. And he's Jewish. He's he's a practicing Jew. And he's been to Israel several times. He loves the country. He's just not a fan of Netanyahu like me.
I don't think that they're completely free of criticism, though. Ben Shapiro,
That may be me assuming too much.
It's kind of scary. There is definitely an Israel-shaped elephant that we're not talking about here. Now, the Jeffrey Epstein situation, in my opinion, so I'll tell you my opinion. In my opinion, Jeffrey Epstein ran a blackmail ring run by multiple Secret Service and intelligence agencies that are all working together, including CIA, Mossad, MI6, and French intelligence. And I think it's a collection of all of these guys that were using Jeffrey Epstein to get blackmail material on powerful people. That's my opinion. Now, that's just what I have to say. The evidence is the fact that he had multiple passports, like a dozen different passports. He became unbelievably wealthy with zero evidence as to how he got that wealthy. He was tied personally to British intelligence. His partner was tied to Israeli intelligence. He was an FBI informant. They literally called him out to the FBI. They said that he had child pornography in 1996, and they didn't arrest him. They actually ended the FBI investigation into him prematurely without ever explaining how. This dude had connections with every single rich person ever, from the royals in Qatar to prime ministers in Israel to the Prince of England to the presidents of the United States. They were all his buddies and on his islands. 1996, they dropped the charges. 2004, he was an FBI informant, an asset. 2006, he was arrested for some shit. They released him again, only for him to restart up a giant sex trafficking empire where they arrested him again, and then he allegedly killed himself in prison. There is no, and now they refuse to release the actual pictures of people that were involved. All right? Get out of here. That is retarded if you think that this guy was not involved in some sort of actual conspiracy. So again, so that's why Ben Shapiro, you gotta always ask, why are you shutting this down, man?
There are. But actual conspiracies require actual evidence. Yes, there was a Russiagate conspiracy, and we know the names of the people involved and what they did. We know Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, but we only know now, that the conspiracy is over, right? The Russiagate conspiracy failed. All right, it was used, unilaterally against Trump, and it's over. That's why we know about it. We didn't know about it for 5 years. So were you not allowed to talk about it for those 5 years that we didn't know about it? See, that's the rough part here,
Infusion chiefs and James Comey and Loretta Lynch and Adam Schiff. We know all of those people. Yes, there was a COVID-19 conspiracy. We know that Anthony Fauci worked to shut down alternative solutions from people like Jay Bhattacharya.
This is true, but Ben Shapiro,
100% facts.
For the record, also literally told everyone that you have to get the COVID vaccine. He said, just get the vaccine, you dolt. That was like his literal quote. So yeah, you're right. But now we know that it's a conspiracy. But for all the people that were saying a conspiracy while it was happening, that were proven correct, should they not have done that? See, that's the issue here. You can't just talk about conspiracies after they're proven, because then they're not conspiracies. Then they're just facts.
Yeah.
Conspiracies are trying to figure it out when you don't have all the facts, when you just have loose evidence. So this is like again, Candace Owens, in my opinion, is not doing conspiracies. Candace Owens, in my opinion, is...
to me, people who were afraid to speak out coming back later, like they always believed it, but they never said anything about it, and they let all these crazy people run rampant, when at the same time, a lot of people who were ostracizing and asking that people got fired and all this other crazy shit, saying that if you didn't get your COVID vaccine, you don't deserve an ambulance, you don't deserve any kind of medical treatment, coming back and saying, we're sorry, our bad. No, fuck you. And that's what a lot of the people on the major news networks on the left said. When it was proven factually correct that however many days to stop the spread didn't work, that the vaccine didn't prevent people from getting COVID, didn't prevent people from transmitting COVID, it was all a lie. It was all a lie to make sure Nancy Pelosi was rich.
Straight up lying and gritting and has zero evidence to anything. COVID, there was evidence. I don't know, man.
But when people posit a conspiracy and then provide you no evidence, they are doing you a fundamental disservice, and they are making you stupider in the process. Finally, because it is our job to make the